Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Transformers third-party video review. Today, thanks to the guys over at Robot Kingdom, we are taking a look at the latest offering from our good friends Planet X with their Triton figure, aka the 6th Dinobot, the mighty Paddles, the famous Aquarian swimming dinosaur. So without further ado, let's crack him open. Here he is out of his plastic prison, and he is truly a lump. Now, like the rest of the Planet X figures, he does come with the plastic pegs, which are optional to plug in to cover up the screws. He does come with his big chunky tail, which can be used as a nice weapon for his arm. I actually have him displayed with this on his arm. I think it looks better, in my opinion. And he comes with two of these giant launchers. Somebody's bound to comment down here the correct name for these. It's been a long time since I played the game, although apparently it's coming to the next generation console, thanks to backwards compatibility. Thank you, Xbox. Yes, we've got these big, huge handles here so we can thread them through into his hands. And of course, we have the classic blades that we get with all of these figures that you can mount on him nicely. I really like the look of him, although he is not the strongest aesthetically, in my opinion. I still think Grimlock is king. This guy is glorious, but he is definitely not fault-free. As you can see, we do have a nice little light pipe section there on the visor. He's very hefty. He's got a very wide girth to him. Really nice chest there. Nice use of the clear plastic either side of the chest. He's got a lot of width to him. I'm not a fan of how loose this back neck section is. These don't really locate on him properly. You can't really tab this into place, so it's a little bit flippy floppy. I think with Sludge there was more control, kind of gripped the head better. The head was a lot smaller, so it was easier to grip and you just had more control when it was in bot mode. Unfortunately, it's not really the case with this. I'm left thinking it's kind of hanging there a little bit too much. But that being said, the design is still very good, and it is a very great likeness for the Fall of Cybertron designs. They've literally copied the character straight from the game, and as far as making a character which does actually transform in real life, bringing it to life from a computer game, I think Planet X have always done a sterling job with that. Now let's put this hand on. Locate his tail section firmly on his hand. You want to just grab these arm sections and just slide it up. It's on a slider, so we have full access to the hand. You can then move that back down again. You can kind of get that curved kind of image thing going on, but I kind of like it just sitting there. I'm not a fan of the tightness of these elbows. The elbows are a little bit floppy. Didn't really have that with any of the others, to tell you the truth. It's only kind of been this guy. Let's just quickly cover the articulation. The head can look left and right, go up and down. We do have waist rotation, no abdomen crunch there. Shoulders are actually pegged in here using this section here. You can undo that and get a vaster range, but the idea is to secure this section in here so we can go up and down. We can go around in this joint as well. We do actually have a double jointed elbow. It's not very supportive of weight. As soon as you put weight on there, it does tend to droop a tad. The wrists do rotate quite freely, and the hands do open at the finger, although the guns themselves don't require the fingers at all. They just sit nicely within these grooved sections. The legs can go forwards on lovely ratchets, back, out, down, rotate at the knee, bend nicely at the knee. You have up and down motion on the toes. No real pivoting action there. They are cut away to give you the appearance of pivot. That's about all you're going to get from the feet, unfortunately. So please, guys, don't get me wrong. I think he definitely looks the part, and he is a very impressive figure. I can't help but feel they may have rushed him out a little bit, though. I mean, with the looseness in the joints on the elbows, I mean, you should at least be able to support your own weapons. And I would have liked some pivoting maybe on the feet, because we got that with Grimlock. Grimlock was a good figure. I mean, I love Vulcan. I think he's a fantastic figure. Definitely my favourite Dinobot they have done to date. Paddles is good, but he's not Grimlock good, if that makes sense. I mean, here he is alongside Grimlock, and I can't help but feel that maybe they have different designers. I don't know. Things seem to have changed a little bit between the two. I mean, even the plastics are a slightly different colour. Maybe it's different factory. I don't really know what's happened there, but it does feel a little bit different in my opinion. Either way, if you've already pre-ordered this, you're not going to be disappointed because it is a fantastic looking figure and it really does complete the set. I mean, who else is going to give us the paddles? No one. Planet X have definitely looked after us there. I just can't help but think that the robot mode is just missing just a little something. I can't quite put my finger on it. Resistances aside, it's not quite right. Right, now let's get him transformed up and see how he fares in his Dino mode. First port of action, let's flip open the underside of the arms and flip those big chunky fists inside and close that back off. Move this neck section all the way out of the way. We want a nice clear access to this head area. These sections here, we want to open these up to bring these sections around to the back, so you now join the red sections together, and then rotate this arm here. You can then bring this forearm section down, and that's going to line up nicely with these guys. Basically what we're going to do, we're going to twist and bring over this shoulder. It's on this double hinge section here, that's going to hinge over, and that is all going to sit nicely over his head. And do the same with this side, just rotate it around and bring that over. And then we can basically do these all up. We can then tab these all together up over his head. He says, let's tab those in, line them up. There we go, that's an awful lot of tabs. There we go, that's all tabbed in above his head. Slide on the tail to secure it all into place. Lift these shoulder pegs up, and that's going to come round and sit over. This section is going to tab in, and we can have these little paddles for paddle facing downwards. Now this section may look very familiar. It's pretty much identical to what we did with Neptune. Basically you want to fold this section out, again a little bit of resistance there, a little bit of clearance issues possibly. Just bring that down. This needs to be brought down and arched out, because that's now going to form a paddle. You want to bring this section double hinged over at the knee. Bring this section down and bring this section down. These two sections here are actually going to tab together like so. Lift the head up, open up the neck section, extend the neck out and down, making it a rather long neck there. Rotate the head with the neck section fully forward. You can now make sure all of these shoulder sections here are closed up and the feet are tabbed in correctly here. Once all of this is all tabbed in firmly, the neck should come all the way forward, rest on these sections, then untab this section underneath, spin it around, bring it forwards, should tab this section into here. So you're going to bring this section all the way forward, apply a little pressure, and that will slide in. Then this section here will tab in to the red section below. That is now firmly into place. There we go. That, my lovelies, is paddles. There we go. I really dislike how that all tabs in, because one little piece out of place and everything just comes apart. Difficulty getting everything tabbed in aside, the Dino mode is stunning. I absolutely love paddles as a Dinobot. I think his Dino mode is actually his strongest mode. I prefer it a lot to his robot mode. Now, I tend to keep my Dinobots in their robot modes. I don't really know why, because then they're just bots, they're not Dinobots. But Paddles, for me, is a Dino. He deserves to be in this form. I think he looks glorious. He does have a pain in the neck. I didn't like it with Neptune, I don't like it with him, how it tabs in underneath. It really does restrict that whole neck section. I mean, these here could all have been vertebrae, and we could have made them into a kind of weapon. It could have bended, it could have had a lot of articulation in there, but we haven't. So we make do with what we've got, and he does look glorious, but like I said, he could have been engineered slightly differently. We could have had more articulation in that neck there. We could have had more articulation in the tail. At the moment, with this section added on here, I would have liked kind of a hinge there, but we don't have anything. We don't have any rotation. We have a little bit of wiggle left and right, and we have the ability to twizzle the end bits here. These plastic sections here are also a lot better on him. When we got them with Snarl, they were very fragile, and these are a lot more sturdy. I think they're made of a thicker plastic. The paddles on paddles are very nice. They can hinge upwards and downwards. We do get rotation. We get fins that go in and out. I mean, aesthetically, he looks like he's meant to. He looks very much like he's come from the deep, and he's come to save his Dinobot comrades. The head, of course, does move. We moved it during the transformation. We can move it left and right quite freely. We can move it up and down. We do get a lot of light piping in the head there, which is very, very nice, and I really do look forward to Toy Hacks doing some nice glow stickers for him, because I think he will look fantastic with some nice glowing insignia. But all in all, I think he's below Grimlock on my scale of favourite Dinobots, just because Grimlock had it all. He had a decent Dino mode and a decent robot mode. Paddles is definitely up there, though. I think his Dino mode is definitely his strongest. There are just too many flaws in his bot design for my liking. I think he was a little bit rushed, and I honestly do think possibly the designer has changed as the Planet X team has evolved. But let's just see how he looks with some of his other Dino comrades. I mean, as a team, these two guys look fantastic together, don't they? And don't quote me on this, but aren't the swords that we've got with paddles, aren't they for their swoop? I think they may be the replacement swords for swoop. But don't quote me on that, I could be completely wrong and completely making that up. And look, he's missing a bit of his tail. He went on the floor when I moved, and it made a mess. But yes, I mean, the advances in engineering have differed somewhat since they made Neptune. I still am not a huge fan of how that neck section goes. Like I mentioned, I'm not keen on how it all plugs in. But when all of these guys are transformed and all is said and done, they make a fantastic team, and Planet X have once again nailed it. Thanks again to the guys over at Robot Kingdom for making this video possible. If you do like our dear Paddles, then please click the link in the description below. It takes you through to Robot Kingdom where they are selling him. If you like the video, then please feel free to share and subscribe. And until next time, thank you all for watching. From myself and Triton, goodbye.